Happy Monday. A lot of stuff to get to today. Try to squeeze as much in as we possibly can. Save some for the morning because I got a show. Today, obviously, the big story. There's several big stories, but the big story, as far as the story, is obviously what's taking place. Trump met Friday with the pooter. Watching the left lose their effing mind over the pooter and Trump and what took place. And they met, and people are like, oh my God, Trump really ruined everything. He gave the Putin a red carpet. It's hilarious because what was he supposed to do? We're gonna hold this at the YMCA. We're not gonna let him get off the plane. You know what? Nobody has made an effort outside of us sending more missiles and more guns to send more of their people to fight the Russians and die. The numbers are staggering. Between the dead and the wounded, probably close to about 1.25 to 1.5 million people. And people are like, I can't believe that Trump allowed that to take place. He legitimized it. He didn't legitimize what? How are you supposed to stop the effing war if you can't talk to the guy who not only started it, and I know some people out there, well, we started it because, no, how are you supposed to do that if you can't talk to the guy? Sit down, shake hands, look at him and go, what up, dude? We get this shit done or not? And they did, but he rolled out the red carpet. Trump, what are you supposed to do? He didn't do that for Zelensky today. People are so ridiculous. And this want for Trump to fail, because somehow if Trump fails, your team gets points. No, these are human beings. These are lives. What are you talking about? This shit is insane. It is. He's a world leader of the largest nuclear-armed nation. Well, we've legitimized him. Oh, trust me, his shit is legitimate already. Okay, so let's just get over that. You got to sit down. You got to look at him and go, how do we get this shit sorted? How do we do it? So he holds it, right? Does the whole thing, the flyover, the whole 9 yards, and they act like it was some big deal, like he got off and there's the Rockettes there. And it was just... It was at a base in Alaska. Let's slow down, okay? Let's just all calm the F down. But today, Trump had Zelensky, wore an outfit, a suit, looked good, right? Very dapper. And several Europeans. He had the Finns there. He had Moroni there from the Italians. He had the Macron and Keir Starmer. And of course, Zelensky was there. And they are talking, okay, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? How do we sort this out? How do we get this shit handled so we're not at war anymore? And I'm sure on Friday, they talked for about an hour about how do they stop this? What do you want? And then the rest of it was like, okay, here's the deal. You do this, you get this shit sorted. Let me tell you something, Vlad. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, Pooter. It's going to be delicious. You're going to be able to come. We're going to give you all kinds of goodies. We're going to give you all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to be able to trade with you. It's going to be awesome. That's where he went with it. Because you've got the land. That ain't going anywhere. And it isn't. And as much as I like to hear people say, well, the land is still theirs. Well, call it whatever you want. It ain't going anywhere. Right? Call it a lease with the option to buy, but the lease is in perpetuity and you have no rights to it. Whatever you want to call it that. But somebody's making an effort beyond, oh, we're going to send more bombs and then we'll send a third person or a third group to mediate some sort of, crap in Switzerland. That wasn't going to happen.
We're going to try and get a three-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out. Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelensky and by the people of Ukraine, working also together in agreement with President Putin.
That was it. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying it the whole time. This is how this works. So the way it works over there, since 1996 in Ukraine, the inside of their constitution, if there is any kind of war situation, land up for grabs, whatever it is, to cede that land to somebody else, there has to be a referendum. Whole nation has to vote on it. Even the land that may be occupied, those people there have to vote on it. The reality is they're not going to want that. They're not going to want to give that up. In their hearts, they know that. But the reality of the world that we're living in is you don't own it anymore. They do. They came, they took it. You can't stop them. You've put up a fight like you could not believe, but you're at the point now where you've got 40, 50, and 60-year-olds on the battlefield. You don't have a choice. And the numbers are bearing that out.
There have been some absolutely major shifts. The idea that Ukraine's going to achieve complete victory, that idea has collapsed within Ukrainian society. What are we talking about here? Ukrainians on the war versus Russia. You go back to 2022, the start of the war. Fight until Ukraine wins. Look at this. The vast majority, about 3/4, 73% agreed with that position. Negotiate to end the war as soon as possible, only 22%. Look at where we are now. It's a complete flip. It's the inverse. Now 69% want to negotiate to end the war as soon as possible, compared to just 24% who want to fight until Ukraine wins. That's a 49-point drop in this position. Now, of course, negotiating to end the war as soon as possible, that's a bit more nuanced, right? Ukrainians don't want to agree to all of Russia's demand, but I think the idea of even there being some territory that would be not formally recognized as being given that Russia could in fact stay in, that does have majority support, but the idea of formal recognition of...
Of course. The way this works is simple. You've taken the land. You have it. You're going to have to give back a little something here and there. And then the fact is there's going to have to be some guarantees. And the guarantees are going to have to be of protection. If you're going to give this up, you better get something in return. And Trump didn't even rule out putting boots on the ground, which I'm not thrilled with. But the reality of trying to get a deal over the line, is there a potential for that? There is a potential. I think the Europeans would be the first ones to have to, because it's in your yard. It's in your backyard. Right? It's the neighborhood over. You're going to have to do something. Can't just always be us. When it comes to this, you've got to take a bigger, you've got to take the bull by the horns here at some point in time, you guys, and get in on this. Because it can't just be us all the time. It can't be. I mean, and we're going to play a lady here coming up a little bit who I think sums up what's going on in America and the frustration that people are having and seeing all this money go all over the place and what matters to Americans. You and I aren't going to bed at night going, oh, I hope they get stuff sorted out in Ukraine. I talk about it. It's because I do politics. Very few people talk about it anymore. They do. They would like to see something get done, but they're also at the point now where it's like, we've got Israel and what's going on over there. We've got all this stuff going on, but I got my life to live. And that's just, you worry about your life. You do. I mean, because if we tried worrying about everybody's life, my God, you could never, you would lose your mind. But earlier today, again, so they got all around the table and they were having conversation. Everybody had a chance to speak. The head of Italy, Roni, sat right next to Trump. She wanted to talk about, the fact is that nobody sat down and talked. Nobody really got together outside of once in a while, Macron or a few others would go talk to him. But this is a much different kind of conversation compared to what they've had in the past.
Well, thank you very much, Donald, Mr. President, for hosting us today in this important meeting. And I think it is an important day, a new phase, after 3 years and a half that we didn't see any kind of sign from the Russian side that there was a willing for dialogue. So something is changing, something has changed, thanks to you, thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine. And the reason why I mention it is that we also have to remind that if we want to reach peace and if we want to guarantee justice, we have to do it united. So that's why it's a very good day, the one we are in. You can obviously count on Italy as it was from the beginning. We are on the side of Ukraine, and we do absolutely support your efforts towards peace. We will talk about many important topics. The first one is security guarantees, how to be sure that it won't happen again, which is the precondition of every kind of peace. I'm happy that we will discuss about that. I'm happy that we will begin from a proposal, which is the, let's say, Article 5 model, which was Italian at the beginning. So we are always ready to bring our proposals for peace, for dialogue. It's something we have to build together to guarantee peace and to defend the security of our nation. So thank you, Mr. President, for hosting us.
Thank you very much.
So, I mean, it was simple. You know, you've got to do what? You need, if you're giving up a certain thing, you should expect something back. And that thing has to be peace. It has to absolutely be peace. Does it mean that we're getting involved with troops on the ground? There's a possibility. Trump didn't rule it out. You don't want to rule something out in a situation like this. But do I think that's going to happen? No, probably not. But yeah, you need a guarantee. You do. And if it's a NATO-like guarantee, and I think the way they'll work it is, as long as, look, if it's Russia or one of the, one of Vladimir's, whether it is Belarus or one of these other, stooges out there that think that they're going to go attack and try to take some certain land and give it to Russia. Anything that happens like that, the protection's got to be there. There's got to be a deterrent, and there needs to be a promise. So you go back, they decided to give up their weapons, and they did. And one of the reasons we wanted to give up their weapons is because when the Soviets fell, right, everything came down, all of the wall, the curtain, the whole 9 yards. They had a massive amount of nuclear weapons. You know what they didn't have? Really any of the codes for them. So they were kind of useless outside of the fact that they were weapons. Could they have been weaponized? Maybe by somebody else. So let's make sure they get rid of them so they don't end up somewhere else, because Eastern Europe, after the fall of the Soviets and the wall and everything, it was a free-for-all of stuff. Come get your stuff. It's cheap and easy. You want to buy a tank? You want to buy a plane? You want to buy this? You want to buy... It was there. So we made sure. All right, let's figure out how we get rid of it. And they did. And we said, hey, by the way, if anything happens, we're going to be there. We really weren't there. We weren't. So there's got to be something behind this, right? Just can't be the like, we got your back, because that's bullshit. We didn't have your back last time. And I think this situation requires absolutely in writing that we're here to help you should shit go down again with Russia. That they will not encroach any further. That this is it. And no, you're not joining NATO, at least while Putin's alive. Talk about it down the road. But right now, let's not. That really upsets him. And then you go from there. Meanwhile, what keeps Americans up at night? The cost of life. And I think this lady says it better than anybody else for a lot of people out there who are struggling. And there are a lot of people out there struggling. And I'm going to throw it on here. Let's see if I can find it. It is a video that she is just destroyed.
Hey, TikTok. I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois, and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
that lady sums up a lot of what people are thinking out there. The frustration levels through the roof. They feel like things aren't getting any better. They feel like, and look, we could sit here and talk about, Trump stuff hasn't taken effect. It's going to come sooner rather than later. Yes, but my analogy has always been this. You got 5 minutes of air, but it's 8 minutes to the top. I mean, you're down underwater. And people are trying to do everything they possibly can. You go to a food line, and I think people would be surprised about who's in the food line. They think it's just all a bunch of bombs and homeless people. It's not. It's working moms and dads. It's people that are working sometimes 2 jobs and just to keep a roof over their head, and they're still struggling to make ends meet, to pay the bills. Life is expensive, and it's getting more expensive. And I continue to say this. Trump can fix this. He can fix Israel and Palestine. Oh, that's really not going to happen. He can do all of those things. He could win the Nobel Peace Prize. But if he doesn't figure out a way to get people feeling better and get more money in their pockets, not less, because is it government's job to put more money in your pocket? No, but it's also not government's job to make life more expensive. And that's what people feel. They look around and they feel like it's more expensive. They earn $1, life costs $1.10. Tomorrow they earn $1.10, it costs $1.20. They feel like they were trying to rob Peter. Then they're like, Peter's like, I ain't got nothing. Then they went over to rob Paul. Guess what? Paul's getting ready to rob you. And they look over and they're like, we should go get Mary. And Mary, she's gone. There's nothing in the world that will change the way that people vote like the economy. And people are frustrated in a major way, wondering why stuff is getting more expensive while their life feels like it's going backwards or in neutral at best. At best. And finally tonight, and we're going to do some more tomorrow on Israel, but I wanted to bring this up to show you, because what's going on in Palestine, you guys know how I feel about it. I'm over it. I don't want it done in my name. Most of you kind of agree. Like, even if you support Israel, you're like, at some point in time, maybe this is enough is enough. Well, let me tell you something. This right here, if this doesn't just show you the insanity and the power that they have, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but so a guy goes and he gets arrested, and he's a cyber. So he's like one of their big cats over there. He works underneath the realistic, like the likes of BB and whatnot. And this guy gets arrested along with several other people. Okay, so several other people, they get arrested soliciting to have sex with minors. Okay? His name is Tom Alexandrovich. He's 38. They let him go home. They let him go home. I want you guys to understand, they let him go freaking home. Back to Israel. If you don't understand the power of which, when I talk about this insanity that goes on with Israel, the power and control that they have, it's crazy. It is. They let this guy go home. And to me, I just found that to be insane. Insane. I don't think they'll let the other 7 keep their passports if they got out of jail. And he wasn't even here on a diplomat passport or a diplomatic. He was here at some big convention. Oh, and by the way, the lady that is I guess she's the DA, prosecutor, she happens to be dual Israeli U.S. citizen. And it's fascinating, the power that they have. And I've said it over and over again, how they do it is AIPAC, several other things that they've done in the past and continue to do, the way that they push, the way that they put things over here and they put it in this file and they get this and they get these guys over here and they promise you this and they promise you that and they take you over to Israel and do all these kind of things. It is frustrating, to say the least. I've got everybody's like, well, where are all these videos of people getting injured and killed and all these things? They're all over. You still want to see it. What is going on over there is absolutely disturbing. If you as a human being are not disturbed by it, and the minute you bring this up, what do you get? You're like, oh, well, it's because you hate the Jews. That's all. That's where everybody goes. That's the same thing that the left does. If you're like, maybe this shouldn't happen here. Maybe this dude shouldn't play. Well, it's a woman. Okay, maybe she shouldn't play here with the girls. Oh, it's because you're a transphobe. No, it's not. It's not because I'm a transphobe. Just I'm trying to look at it from the reality of where I'm sitting. And it's the same thing. The minute, I saw it was Jimmy Dore, the comic, he said, if you say that your bagels are kind of burnt, they're like, you hate the Jews, you're anti-Semitic. You can't, there's just no reasoning in having a conversation. And this is not whether or not Israel should exist. Stop with that bullshit argument as well. They do exist. They should exist. And they have a right to protect themselves. At what point does it go from protecting yourself to you decided we're doing this? And I tell everybody this too when it comes to Israel. The support that you're throwing behind them doesn't make you a friend. Because a real friend would tell somebody, hey, what you're doing is wrong and this is going to cost you. And I care enough about you to tell you that this is wrong. And what is going on there is wrong. What is happening there is wrong. Not only are you losing your humanity, but you are ostracizing yourself from so much of the rest of the world who are over it. And you've pissed off a group of people in America who were very much supporters, but now aren't. And see what's going on when it comes to the politics, the sway that you have in the world of politics here, which is, to me, insane. It is. I'm going to play one thing for you just to give you a snapshot of the kind of stuff that you're seeing over there. And it is a tough watch.
Open confrontation between settlers and local Palestinians, with more people coming to join the fight on either side. Locals say this is happening almost every day now, and these are the tactics settlers are using to take the land field by field. The speed and spread of this attack was breathtaking. Dozens of settlers fanning out across the hills. We watched them break into buildings, methodically setting fire to vehicles and homes. In just a couple of hours, this conflict has spiraled from one olive grove all across these hills. Palestinians from across the area arrived to help, but the army has sealed off the main road. The army later told us that Palestinians had burnt tires and that 4 Israelis were treated at the scene. We weren't able to speak to any of the settlers involved. The local Settlers Council told us there were elements on both sides seeking provocation, which it strongly condemned.
You took their stuff. You were sitting on top of the mountain. You cut down all of their olive trees. And from there, you did what? You go and then you burn their houses down? Well, they burn tires. Again, it's calmer heads need to prevail, and it isn't happening. And right now, Bibi and Gavurian and Smodrich and all these guys, they think they can run hog wild and they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do, and nobody's going to stop them. You had 500,000 people last night protesting, saying, you don't care about the hostages anymore. This is about you, and you're doing your thing. Hard to argue against that. And the fact that Israel will win this, and Israel's not going anywhere because of the military might that they have. But as a friend, I'll tell you this right now. Your future with America isn't what you think it is. Isn't what you think it is. Because a younger generation wants no part of this, right or left. A younger generation looks at this and says, you know what? You guys are an apartheid state. A younger generation looks and says, why are we giving you money? Why are we bowing down to the lobby that Israel has that, quote unquote, it's not because it's really an American lobby, which is bullshit. Why is that happening? We're not going to do this anymore. And it's not a right-left thing. It's an old-young thing. And the young, they're not having it. Talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. Make sure you join the program when it comes to the AM show. We've got a ton of stuff tomorrow. Mike Lyons on the radio program is going to join the show. We're going to talk about what's going on, not only in Israel, but elsewhere, but also what's realistically going to happen when it comes to Trump, Zelensky, and Putin and the ceasefire. So you're going to want to join us for that. You can check us out. Go to chadbensonshow.com. Across all of our markets, we're on a bunch of markets nationwide. And if you have trouble trying to find it in your area, simple and easy, you can just go to chadbensonshow.com or radioamerica.com. They'll point you in the right direction. You can listen to the podcast as well. Like and subscribe here. We appreciate it. Just click that. It's simple and easy to do. We appreciate when you do that. You guys have a blessed rest of your Monday night, and we will